Now on Denver 7 News, Colorado's wild weekend weather.
Storms moving into the Denver metro along with a big cold front bringing much needed relief from the extreme heat.
When you're buying a house or renting a house, if air conditioning is important to you, you want to make sure it's there.
The heat is on, and so is the battle over broken air conditioners. An in-depth look at renters' rights in Colorado when it comes to keeping cool.
But I certainly felt her influence when she issued those marriage licenses.
And a celebration of life for one of Colorado's pioneers of marriage equality. Good evening. We begin tonight with storms moving across the Front Range along with a flash flood warning.
Let's get right over to meteorologist Stacey Donaldson. Stacey, that warning is in effect right now?
It's in effect just south of Lyons up into the foothills, and at this point we still have rain moving across the state. We had some good super soakers here for the metro just within the last hour, but at this point we still have this flash flood warning in effect. As I mentioned, to the south of Lyons, the main batch of rain has already pushed to the east, so this is the Calwood burn scar. And earlier today with the heavy rain, we had this flash flood warning issued by the National Weather Service, so we could still see the potential for some flooding into the next 45 minutes. Here for the eastern plains, we still have rain moving through I-76, and then here for the metro, the main line of showers have moved off to the east. At this point, we also have a flash flood warning down toward Lamar as well, in effect until 10:15 with some heavy rain there. As we go through the rest of tonight, our temperatures will remain cool now that the cold front has passed through, so we'll have 60s overnight for our overnight lows. That's where we're sitting right now, and then much cooler air tomorrow. I'll have details on that coming up.
All right, Stacey, thank you. And thank goodness we're getting a break from the heat because this week was brutal for people without AC.
That's right. Going in depth, the city of Denver reports about 30% of homes do not have air conditioning. Primarily, these are older homes and most homes in low-income communities.
Contact Denver 7's Rob Harris has been getting answers for us on this hot topic for renters with no AC or broken air conditioners. Rob?
Yeah, Bayan, if our inbox is any indication, these are just some of the messages we've gotten in about this topic. We've received plenty of emails into our Contact Denver 7 inbox asking, what are my landlord's responsibilities when it comes to air conditioning in Colorado? And no wonder a lot of you are asking this because the heat has been crazy with record temperatures and heat advisories just this week. So I took some of the main questions we've been getting on this topic to the Apartment Association of Metro Denver. The first thing to know, in the state of Colorado, your landlord is not required to provide air conditioning in your unit.
There is no obligation that people have air conditioning in their homes. When you're buying a house or renting a house, if air conditioning is important to you, you want to make sure it's there.
Now, having said that, things may be different if your landlord already provides you with air conditioning and then it stops working. Hamrick says more than likely your management will be obligated to fix it within a reasonable period of time.
Reasonable period of time can be a bit arbitrary and changes on the fact pattern. And certainly with all the supply chain interruptions that people are seeing, things aren't happening as fast as they used to or would like them to.
Colorado's law of habitability requires working heat for safe living. Right now, air conditioning doesn't fall in that category. Could that change? Hamrick says it's possible, but there are actually other initiatives being pushed that could get in the way.
A lot of local governments are enacting ordinances that require housing providers to limit the amount of energy used by the resident. And air conditioning may very well be a luxury in these energy rationing schemes that you just don't see as often as you do now.
So if your apartment or house does have air conditioning and then it stops working, Hamrick says it's important to give your landlord or management company written notice right away. They are then required to get it fixed within a reasonable amount of time most of the time. But again, what counts as a reasonable amount of time is subjective and it can change with those different factors. Jacqueline.
All right. Wow. Thank you, Rob, for looking into that. I-25 is back open in Greenwood Village tonight after a deadly motorcycle crash. Greenwood Village police tell us it happened just after 5 on the northbound I-25 ramp you can see here at East Arapahoe Road. The driver was the only one involved in the crash and died at the scene.
All right, all new at 10, a special honor tonight for a Lakewood police officer who shot and killed a suspect in a deadly shooting spree last year. Cheyenne Frontier Days paid tribute to Agent Ashley Ferris tonight. A special announcement was made over the PA system recognizing her for her bravery. Ferris was shot while exchanging gunfire with a suspect who was accused of killing 5 people. She spent 5 months recovering from the injury before returning to work back in May.
As Americans worry about the future of same-sex marriage, a Boulder icon is being remembered for her contribution to marriage equality decades ago. Denver 7's Patrick Perez reports on the impact of Clela Rorik's.
A celebration of life on what would have been Clela Rorik's 79th birthday.
It was very moving, very touching, mostly because I was living a whole lot of my own memories, listening to other people talking about her.
The former Boulder County clerk died this past June. She cemented her place in history as the first in Colorado to issue a marriage license to a gay couple back in 1975.
I don't know that I remember hearing her name back in 1975, but I certainly felt her influence when she issued those marriage licenses.
Neil Fishman was one of dozens of esteemed guests gathered at the Boulder Jewish Community Center Saturday to honor her legacy.
Clela did not want a service. She was very clear she wanted a celebration of life, and what a life it was.
Last week, the Boulder County Commissioners proclaimed Saturday, July 23rd, as Clela Rorik's Day. An appreciation now more important than ever as people in the LGBTQ community fear the Supreme Court will target same-sex marriage next.
If the Supreme Court ruling gets overturned, those 6 marriage licenses that Clela Rorik issued will be the only valid 6 marriage licenses in the United States of America.
This week, the U.S. House passed a bipartisan bill to write same-sex marriage into federal law.
Democrats believe that the government has no place between you and the person you love.
Advocates are remaining hopeful the Senate will follow through.
I hope that our straight allies in the Congress will do some research about what makes our community strong and follow our lead.
Regardless of what happens next, Clela Rorik's will forever be known as a woman ahead of her time, an icon, not of fame or glory, but because of the steps she took decades ago.
Incredibly sad and a huge loss, a loss to everybody.
In Boulder, Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
She certainly was an inspiration. Patrick, thank you. Today, the World Health Organization declared the global monkeypox outbreak a public health emergency. So far, more than 16,000 cases have been confirmed in more than 70 countries. Nearly 2,900 of those are in the United States, and 37 of those are right here in Colorado. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says it's ordered 2.5 million doses of the vaccine last week. The federal government expects to have 7 million doses available by 2023.
All right, a popular Colorado festival is back after a 2-year hiatus. We are taking you inside the colorful Colorado Dragon Boat Festival.
Plus, the Broncos are just days away from training camp. What to expect from the team's newest stars next in sports.